Okay, so this video is meant to walk you through how to do some simple graphing in Google Sheets. And so you start off with collecting your data. And so you have some values that you want to graph, and you've input them here into Google Sheets. So I've input a bunch of X values and the corresponding Y values here. And so in order to graph the data, what you're going to do is you're going to select the data that you want to graph. So you're going to highlight that. And there's two ways you can actually bring up a chart. You can do that by selecting this chart icon over here, or you can go ahead and select Insert, Chart. Now, when you select Insert Chart, Google Sheets is going to think about the data that you just selected, and it's going to try to figure out what kind of a graph you want to have. There's artificial intelligence there for you, working at its best. So it will kind of come up with probably the best fit option. And so it was looking at the fact that you just have some X and Y values, and it's a scatter plot. And that's most often we're going to look at a scatter plot. Sometimes we might look at a line chart as well. But we're going to go ahead and select scatter chart. I will always prompt you to graph a particular type of graph. Otherwise, this setup is fine. But we do need to add a little bit more information to our graph. So you would go ahead and select Customize. And when you select Customize, you're going to get a bunch of different options to kind of jazz up your graph, and you can play with this. This time I really don't care that you change the color, whatnot. But what I do want are some titles. Right now, I have no idea what this data is representing, and so you need to give me some information on that. So you may want to change the chart title to, be like, this is my experiment from blah, 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 or whatever. Definitely we need to give a chart title, a horizontal axis title. So let's say that for my horizontal axis, it was time. I've done that quite a bit. It kind of is saying, hey, do you want that? And it automatically gives you right here the horizontal axis value. And then we're going to do the same thing for vertical axis title. Instead of being Y, I might want to say that it is like my velocity. You can see I've done this before, and it's going to go ahead and give me that value. So definitely want to give your chart as long as your horizontal, as well as your horizontal and your vertical axis some titles. The other thing we're going to do often is we're going to add what's called a trend line. And so that is going to be under this tab called Series. And go ahead and scroll down. Again, you can jazz it up by changing the color. I don't really care about that. But right here, this is what I want to have you guys add. We're going to go ahead and add what's called a trend line. And it will always default to linear trend line. And so this would be that my relationship is a y equals mx plus b type of relationship. And I can look at how that trend line is fitting into that graph and see that that is clearly not a linear relationship. So if you do the drop down arrow, you'll see you have a bunch of different options here. There is the linear that the default is. There's exponential, which is y is equal to e to the x. In this class, we will not be looking at functions that are y equals e to the x. There's polynomial, and this is when you have a relationship that is like a y equals ax plus bx squared plus cx cubed type relationship. In this class, we will not be looking at polynomial relationships. There's logarithmic relationships. We will not be looking at these kind. Power series. This is the other one that we will be looking at. So the two types of trend line functions that you are going to be utilizing are linear and power series. So power series is y is equal to x to a power. So it could be like x squared, x cubed. It could also be x to the -1, which is just 1 over x, okay? So linear and power series are the two that we're going to be looking at. So let's go ahead and, linear clearly is not the fit. Let's try power series, much better fit, okay? Now, to actually see what that power series function is, we're going to go ahead and scroll down a little bit more and select this label option. And we're going to put use equation. And right there, it shows us now what the mathematical relationship for our particular graph is. And so you can see it says 0.917x to the power of 3.04. So this is like a y equals x cubed relationship. Okay, that's what this function is. Y is equal to x cubed. And so that is something that we're going to be using often. We're going to add trend lines. We are going to show the equation. Okay, use the label of the equation. And that's pretty much all we need to do with the chart editor. When you go to link your Google Sheet to your Google document, oftentimes I'll have you guys link it. You're going to go ahead and select here, share. And when you do the sharing, please, please, please make sure that you change the link to Laguna Beach Unified School District. So you'll copy that link. Hopefully you'll like shorten the name of it and bring that link in. But you need to change it right here to Unified School District so that I can actually access your file. But when you go to turn it in, please make sure that you move the graph over so that when I quickly look at your Google Sheets, I can see your data, your raw data, I can see your graph, okay? Now, another thing we may be graphing is we may be graphing where we have two sets of data on a given like time frame or position or et cetera. Basically, we're running kind of two different trials and we want to graph them on the same graph to be able to compare the two. So I've already inputted some data. I've got time and I've got two objects and their positions. Now I've done a little bit of work here in that I've actually labeled time, the object A's position, the object B's position. And by doing that, you're going to see it's going to help me in terms of my graph and already kind of populating some of those values. So again, we're going to go ahead and select our data. This time I'm going to actually grab this cell that says time. I'm going to grab all my data, select insert chart. And again, it kind of thinks about what you might want. And right now it's kind of defaulting to scatter charts just because I do a lot of scatter chart plotting. But for this one, I want to kind of compare these trend lines. And so I'm going to scroll up here and go from scatter chart to, I'm going to go ahead and go to a line chart. Okay. And this shows me really nicely that here is object A's position, and then here is object B's position. I can see that nicely. Notice when I grabbed that cell that started with time, it already defaulted and gave me my horizontal axes label. So I don't have to add that. And it gave me these labels here for what my red line and my blue line are. Now, notice what it didn't give me was it didn't give me vertical axis. So I need to go here to customize and chart axes and titles and give myself a vertical axis. And this was position. And so it has that there. And that's all I need. I don't really need a trend line, so I already have a line on this one, and I'm kind of good to go. Remember, when you go to kind of finish this off, you're going to move this over so that I can see your raw data and see your graph nicely. Oftentimes, when you graph something, I'm going to have you take this graph and bring it into a Google Doc. And so easy way to do that is to kind of select your graph. There's a dot, dot, dot here. You would go ahead and copy the chart, and then you could paste it into Google Doc. Another way to do that would just be to take a screenshot of this chart and then insert it that way. Okay, so hopefully that gives you a little bit of a rundown on how to graph your data in Google Sheets.